Hey guys, I'm back. My project for this week is making a wooden ring holder. This can go by a sink. Whenever you wash your hands or wash the dishes, you can set your ring on that instead of accidentally dropping it down the drain. It'll keep your ring safe. And I'll be making this on my homemade lathe that I made. Alright, so here's what we've got. I've got my homemade lathe right here, and I have a antique chair leg. The chair was all busted up when I got it. I decided not to fix it, but rather scrap the pieces. So I cut off a piece right here. This will be the body of our ring holder, and I'll be turning this on my homemade lathe that I have right here. I've got two motors on either side. Both spin independently, but they're all both going the same direction. So it's got twice the power of each of these, but these aren't very strong motors at all. But it will do small jobs like this and it'll work just fine. It just is a little bit slower than if you had higher power motors. But I'll jump right into this. It's fairly simple. I'm just going to shave down the edges and smooth it out so that a ring can slide on and it'll hold it. To start, I'm just taking my awl and I'm poking a hole right in the center of the wood. That way I can easily center it on my lathe and it's nice and balanced. Here's a couple of wood chisels that I made for carving. I didn't have any wood chisels for this when I made the lathe, so I decided to make a couple myself instead of dumping a lot of money into just a homemade lathe. And surprisingly, these worked really well. I've got such fine tips on these for the most part just because this doesn't have a lot of power and I'm doing a lot of small details. So the really small tip chisels are really nice for this. Alright, so here's my lathe working. I have to take it really slow, as you can see every once in a while it stops. If the chisel catches the wood or takes too big of a chunk out, it will stop the motor. So it's just being patient and carving slowly, and I would love to try to make a more powerful lathe sometime and be able to use that and carve with more power, because I'm sure it's a lot smoother and more fun to use when it doesn't stop. So this video I actually sped up about 5 times the speed, so it does take a little bit of time, but it's a lot of fun. Alright, now I'm just taking some rough sandpaper while it's spinning and smoothing out any surfaces that might be scratched or gouged from the chisel. This will really just fix any imperfections that are there. and I will take several different passes with this, but then start using some smoother sandpaper and try to get it as smooth and shiny as I can. One trick that I found that actually works better than really fine sandpaper is you just take a handful of sawdust, and while that is spinning at a high speed, you just press that sawdust up against it lightly. You want to be careful, you don't want to overheat your hand, but you just lightly press that sawdust up against the wood, and it actually buffs and shines the outside of that wood and smooths it out really nicely. I'm gonna add a layer of boiled linseed oil to seal this wood and protect it. I got a little ahead of myself and finished it before I checked the size. It fits my ring alright, but I want it to be able to fit some smaller rings as well. So I'm gonna taper this down a little bit more so that smaller rings can fit on. Alright guys, here's the finished ring holder. Thanks for watching. I think this really turned out well. It's a nice, easy project, only took me a couple hours. And if you have a lathe, it won't take much work at all. You probably could even do this by hand if you wanted to carve it down and you don't have a lathe. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button down below if you like this video, or subscribe if you have not already. That way you know when I upload new videos. And it also helps me. The more you guys interact with my videos, the more YouTube will recommend my videos to other people as well. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.